speak to us, share with us where like the vision and the appetite and desire to go into public office came from.
So I was approached last year to run for alderman. And if people don't know what that is, alderman is basically the mayor of your ward or your district.
Yes.
So in Haven, there's 32 wards. So my ward, especially, we're having someone going into their 7th term. They're like, hey, we got to get him out. Would you be willing to run? Now, this is about 60 days before election. So I didn't really have a campaign. I had just had Achilles surgery a month prior. So I'm on a knee scooter, right? So I had 30 days to campaign. I'm on a knee scooter, and then I'm on an ankle boot. I'm knocking on doors. And I was pleasantly surprised at how open people were and how every single person, regardless of party affiliation, had the same issues. So right. Long story short, I lost by 200 votes. And I only had 30 days, which means I would have won if I had more time. I'm glad I didn't, because now I'm here. So fast forward to this year, I was asked again by Ben Proto, who is the chairman of the RNC here in Connecticut. He said, hey, Steve, we're looking for someone to run in New Haven. Now, New Haven, where I am, is like literally owned by Yale. So you can imagine we're the most liberal part of the entire state. I think we're outnumbered 14-1, Democrat versus Republican. Now, I am a Republican now, was a lifelong Democrat up until this last election. I'm just have become more conservative with age. The right just aligns a little more with my values right now at this stage of my life. We sat at lunch, and he said, would you like to run for a Senate or a state rep? And I'm looking, and I go home, I'm looking at the two options. And I'm like, dude, this guy who's the senator has been in his seat for 15 terms, 30 years. And he was a state legislator in 81 when I was only 1 year old. He's also the president pro temp of the Senate in Connecticut, which is like the most powerful man in all of the Senate in Connecticut. I said, I want him. If I'm going to go after this, I want to go after the hard battle. And so I took it on, and I enjoy it. Again, if it was really easy, I don't know what it is about the battle, because when things are too easy, unfortunately, I do get complacent. It's like my Achilles heel. I need to always feel some sort of struggle. And so this seems like such an uphill battle that would be fun, because win or lose, it's going to be a good experience, because I am going to run for president. I promise you guys.
So tell me a little bit though about any meaningful lessons learned very early on in your political career. Are there one or two that stand out that you've been like, man, I would not have expected this, or wow, I can't believe how wrong I was?
I definitely didn't. So most people don't realize how their state is actually run until they do the research. And our state, for example, my district, we haven't had a Republican mayor since 1953. Wow. All our aldermen are Democrat, not a single Republican. We haven't, like I said, Martin Looney's been in his seat since 1993. And I'm like, everyone complains about New Haven. Everyone complains about Connecticut, but everyone keeps voting blue. And it's hard for me to understand why people won't just take a risk and just vote a different color, vote a different candidate. And if you don't like them after 2 years, vote him out. But people get in this vicious cycle of just voting the same way, and then nothing changes. And I have a hard time understanding that. And I'm really learning a lot about it. Because like I said, everyone has the same issues, public safety, education, taxes. Doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. Those are what you care about.
That's right. What do you think? Is there a unique value proposition to those living in Connecticut that you represent by having grown up a Democrat and going through life, and as the priorities in your life have adjusted, you've realized that you align more with the Republican side? Is there a benefit in value to those that you would serve, that's been the life you've had and the perspective you've had?
I think people have this stereotype of what a Republican is. Unfortunately, it's like so old rich white guy. That's literally what it is, you know. And honestly, I've said this, and I've spoke at Republican conventions and meetings. The problem with our party is we haven't been inclusive. You know, we're not racist, we're not misogynist, but you don't see a lot of minorities and women, elevating women to high places, the LGBTQ community. There's a lot of millennials. Republicans are so just focused on legislative issues that they always say this, they fail to remember that a big portion of our country cares more about social issues. So until they can kind of gravitate a little more to the center, they're never going to win again, in my opinion. And there's a problem. You know, I had a dinner. It's called State Central. They have it once a month, where it's all the candidates and other politicians in the state. They come for one meeting, and I'm looking around the room, and I don't throw the race card. I'm not that guy, but I still notice color because I am a man of color. And I'm looking around the room. There are 7 tables of 10 plus other staff, so 75 people. Can you tell me how many minorities were sitting at those tables?
Less than 5.
Yeah, no, 1. And it was me. And I'm like, this is the problem with the party. And this is why, like, we haven't evolved, and it's not okay. Like, the guy who's running for governor now, an incredible human. I've met him, so nice. He's just another old rich white guy who's spending 10 million of his own dollars to campaign. Like, at some point, you need to understand, like, relatability is extremely important. So that's what I'm getting at is, I just feel like I'm the most relatable person that the Republican Party has ever seen when it comes to everyone.